Welcome to Outlaw Edge Blade Works. So I'm talking about fire steels tonight, and one of my pet peeves is I keep seeing on YouTube these cheap Harbor Freight, and I'm not bagging on Harbor Freight because they got some great stuff. Some of their stuff is awesome, but I mean you got to watch some of these. If you're going to base your life on something uh, to take care of you out in the woods where you can make fire easily, you don't want a piece of junk trying to light a fire with. But this is a Doan magnesium block, and right here this is a ferrocerium rod. You can see it from the side here. Your ferro rod is right here, and the bottom block is magnesium. I know a lot of you have seen these, and I've used this one quite a lot lately. You can see I've shaved a bunch of this off, and what you do is you put a shavings about the size of a quarter or 50-cent piece in a pile, and then you take this ferro rod and you strike it with your knife or your striker, throw some sparks into magnesium, and you have like 2,000 degree or 5,000 degree flames or whatever it is. I'm not sure what. Anyways, that magnesium goes up and it's like a rocket. It's like rocket fuel. It'll burn anything. And where I really like those, or when stuff like this, when you're out in the woods, I like the mag blocks because it's you can get the stuff going easily with very little tinder when it's wet. And I've been checking out a lot of videos on YouTube, and people are getting these $1.99 whatever mag blocks. They're the same exact thing as this, but they're made in China, and they're junk. Harbor Freight sells those, and they're just complete garbage. I've tried them. They're nothing like these Doans. If you're gonna get one, the Coglins are okay, but they're a little bit different material. These Doans fire starters, and it's D-O-A-N-S, Doans, and these are amazing. And these are actually military grade. I mean, I guess these were issued to the military, and I guess they still are issued to the military. But these Doan's fire starters, highly recommended if you're going to get one. Don't get a cheap one. The ones from Harbor Freight that I've tried, the magnesium is way different. When you shave this one and you take your knife and you start shaving it down, and you always want to use the back of your knife, you don't want to use the blade, but you start shaving this stuff down, you'll notice that this Doan's is so hard that it's really fine shavings. And like I said, you want to get like a 50-cent piece or a quarter, or a pile about the size of a quarter, and then you strike this into it. And the ones from Harbor Freight are really cheap, and they come off in big curls, and the magnesium is way different. And I've actually taken Volkswagen engine blocks, pulled chunks off of it, and the magnesium is better than the stuff that they sell at Harbor Freight, because magnesium, Volkswagen's motors, Volkswagen car engines, the older ones, like your Beetles and all that, their engines are made out of magnesium. That's why you see a lot of Volkswagens with the engine fires, because the magnesium gets hot and then it'll catch on fire and whatever. But the magnesium that like the Volkswagens have is almost the same stuff that Harbor Freight is using. You can make fire with it, but it's very difficult, and the stuff is extremely hard to get shavings from. It almost comes off in big pieces. And if you're throwing a little tiny hot spark into a pile, you want it to be fine dust, and that's what you can do with the Doans. So you really got to watch what you're doing when you go and buy these cheap Harbor Freight magnesium blocks. I don't want to keep preaching on that, but the other thing I want to say is you have different style ferro rods. And this one here, this is actually a Gerber. I gave it to a buddy of mine, Chopper Dave, but I was going to show you my Coglins that I have. And the Coglins, they use their ferrocerium that they use is a lot different. And I believe this one here, this is a Gerber, and this is one of them cheap ones that comes in like a Bear Grylls survival kit or whatever. These Gerbers or whatever, I believe these are Mitch metal. I think that's how you say it, Mitch metal, whatever you want to call it. And so are these Light My Fire steels. And these ones are awesome. If you can get those, the Gerbers, the Light My Fires, they're excellent brand. But my favorite all-time fire steel that I would highly recommend is going to be a Light My Fire Army model. And they make them with all different kind of style handles, but they come with a 3/8 ferrocerium rod, and it's ferrocerium magnesium. So it's both. It's the Mitch metal. And what you do is you take and carve this off real slow into a pile, and then you can also strike it. And there's no different. It's just one rod. There's no different ferro rod on top of it or magnesium on the bottom of it. It's all together. And this thing throws some flames. I mean, really good sparks off of this one. The other one that I highly recommend, and I've been wanting to get one for a long time, I just can't find one, and haven't really looked. Mora knife, MORAKNIV, and it's Mora knife makes these Mitch metal style black ferrocerium rods, and they're amazing. They're actually better. I would recommend those over one of these, over these Light My Fire brands, because they're awesome. And somebody that just got one was back in Am Survival. He just got one of those Mora knife kits, and it has the really good fire starter on it, and those things are amazing. He was out in front of my house the other night and practicing with it. When the thing was coming off in big balls of fire, his eyes lit up and he was like, wow. But anyways, I'm not going to keep rambling on. That's just my opinion. You know, you guys can go with it and use the Harbor Freight one if you wanted to, but I'd highly recommend getting a Doan's fire starter. Anyways, thanks a lot.